Hey, what's going on, guys? Some new knives I want to show you. I've got these a while ago. These are from countycom.com, and they are the EDC rescue knives. They come in two configurations. One is the sheepsfoot blade with the combo edge, the plain edge towards the front here, and of course the serrations towards the back, which is a pretty common setup. They are liner locking knives, and they're an open frame design, as you can see. The other blade shape here, which I actually prefer more, for most tasks anyway, is the plain edge drop point. And like I said, they're open frame designs, meaning that there's only one handle scale here, and it looks like something's missing, like, you know, where's the rest of the knife? But it's really designed this way to save weight. Of course, any of you out there who are really big on very light knives, of course you'll like this one. This comes in at exactly 1 ounce on the nose. I actually grabbed my scale as well because I was going to go by the Countycom specs on this, but I thought 1 ounce, you know, it feels really light, but I wanted to just make sure, and my scale showed exactly 1 ounce as well. So a very light knife, very simple design. You have a blade, you have your one solid molded piece of Zytel. You have a steel liner here, okay, that creates your liner lock, as you can see there, which engages nice and strong. And of course you have your pivot screw with kind of a spacer here to keep the tension. So really interesting knife. Like I said, it's marketed more for a emergency bag, just something to have on hand at all times, maybe a glove box, something to keep in your car, or a toolkit. The orange Zytel scale on here, I believe this is the only color they have right now. I'm not sure if they're ever going to do another color. Of course, when you see the cage number here and U.S. government, this was a government contract, meaning that some government office specifically put in an order for these. I'm not exactly sure why or what for, or even what branch, if it was the military. But someone specifically ordered these, and these are just leftovers that are sold over at Countycom. They're very, very strong for what it is. You wouldn't think that an open frame design like this would be strong. There's a lot of open frame knives. Gerber had a few in past years, as well as some other companies. But it's actually surprising, the lockup on here. Again, you would not think that, you know, with the missing scale, you'd think there'd be a lot of slop and play and it would be able to fold easily, but there's no blade play whatsoever. It seems a little flimsy because of the one scale. You can see that the whole knife will, I mean, it's moving in my hand a little bit, it will flex a little. But even, you know, trying to go in a circle here, it's not unlocking on me. The handle's actually flexing, and I'm sure if I were to push like this really hard, it might snap. But again, this is not really intended for heavy use. This is an emergency type knife. If you want to use this for EDC, well, I would probably tell you not to. I would say this is ideal for a bag or for an emergency kit. For everyday use, I mean, light tasks would be fine, but I wouldn't use this really hard just due to the design, the whole nature of the design itself. And that goes for any of them, not just this specific model. But anyway, some specs on this. The biggest deal with the open frame and why they have this design is to save weight. This is exactly 1 ounce, and I confirmed this on my own scale at home here. Very light knife. It is a liner lock, as I showed. The one-piece international orange Zytel handle has the built-in, or it's one-piece solid molded. You know, the butt end here has a carabiner clip on it, and which is really versatile. I mean, that's why it doesn't have a pocket clip. Basically, once this is closed, you can kind of attach this to anything, a belt loop on your pants if you wanted. I think the best thing you can do is if you add a split ring to this, or maybe not to the knife itself, but if you put a split ring on, let's say, you know, molly webbing, or a backpack strap, or pretty much anywhere else, if you want to just put it on your pants on one of your belt loops, it'll make it even easier for that quick attachment or quick detach to get your knife. But it's a very cool knife. The blade steel here is a 440A, which I'm not super fond of. It's a very soft steel. Of course, every steel is going to have its pros and cons. The pro to that is that it's going to be extremely, extremely easy to sharpen, which is nice for a lot of people out there who aren't sharpening experts. The downside, it will not hold an edge very long, and with my testing I found that that's obviously true. With a lot of use, it will dull pretty quickly. But overall, it's really not a bad knife at all. It has the opening, it's kind of a crescent moon, or half moon shape. I find it is easy to get to. With the one frame, or one scale here, it's not super, super comfortable in the hand, but again, for emergency use, not for everyday use, it's totally fine. In fact, I'm going to do a couple of cutting demos here because these are advertised as rescue knives. I have a seatbelt here I'm going to cut, as well as some military webbing. But anyway, blade length on here is just under 2.5 inches. It's 2.36 inches overall open is 6.44 inches. Like I said, I mean, it's not super heavy duty. It could flex a little, but with the liner lock, it does lock up nice and strong. Strong enough for, I would say, for most cutting tasks. Again, not specifically recommended by myself for an EDC knife, unless of course you're only pretty much opening letters and boxes with it. In that case, it'd be totally fine. But if you're doing anything heavier than that, I would certainly not use this knife. But it's still very cool to throw in a bag or your emergency kit. And again, it's going to say on the liner there, U.S. government, and the cage number here, because this was a government contract. The government specifically ordered these for specific use, which I personally don't know what it was for. But these are just the extra that are available at CountyCom. Very cool knives though. I do like the drop point because I prefer plain edge over the combo edge, but of course the advantage of the sheep's foot is that you're less prone to actually stabbing anything. So if you have to get in to cut a seatbelt off someone, you're not going to poke them and of course cause them more pain than they're already in. So anyway, let me just do a demo for you, a cutting demo. First, actually, let's use this one because I just talked about it, and the seatbelt. This is a standard seatbelt I pulled out of a car at the junkyard. I'm going to fold this over for convenience because it's not locked up right now. And let's get in there and give it a cut. Didn't go all the way through, but that's just the length of the blade. Serrations cut good. I mean, any good serration pattern, when they're nice and new and sharp, it is going to cut good. Let me get the whole length here, see if I can get through it all. Not quite. So with the blade length you have here, it's nice and sharp. It's sharp enough, but with the length, it's going to be a 2 cut through this this seatbelt. Let's try the plain edge. Again, not enough length really to get all the way through a one pass, but still nice and sharp. I do find that if you see this design back here, the knife is closed. It goes in this little area here, so there's a cutout in the zytel, but that's exactly where your thumb rests. So not super comfortable to rest your thumb there like that, but that's just how it is. It's still fine for emergency use if you, let's say, God forbid, you get into a car accident or something, and maybe you have to cut a spouse out, or maybe you witnessed a car accident and you're helping someone out because their seatbelt jammed up and locked up on them. It looks like, you know, 2 swift little cuts. It's going to get the job done. But you're not going to be able to get through with the blade length here on one pass. So it does good with the seatbelt, it's just not very long. Let's try this military webbing here. Same deal. It's sharp enough to get through it. It's just not long enough to do a great pass on it. Let's try the sheepsfoot blade here. I find that the serrations were actually getting jammed into the material as opposed to slicing through it. It was actually binding up, which made it a little harder, and you can see it's not as clean of a cut. I'm not 100% if the blade's already getting dull because it is so soft, or if it's just the design here, but I would certainly go with the plain edge for more of a fibrous material like this this belt here. Not as finely weaved or strong as a seat belt, but just due to the nature of the material, it's going to be better with a plain edge blade. Get past those eyelets here. There we go. So they do their job as emergency knives. For an everyday use, I probably wouldn't be my first choice. By the way, you can see here with the design, there's a pin. Of course, that pin is your backstop, so you don't have any over travel. The lockup is very good on this. Like I said, they're a little flimsy. If I push this really hard, I'm sure I can break it, but that's not my intentions here. The liner lock does its job just enough, you know, to get your job done for emergency. So anyway, there they are. Price on these are $17.50 each. I still think they're actually worth the $17.50 for what you're getting here. It's just not a knife I would use every day. That's all. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.